I apologize to DA because the play was victory. But I also explained to DA that it was a team decision. And I think when you have the team morale, and I asked the guys, I say, guys, like, what do you want to do? We know how much Jamal means to this team, and I understood from DA's perspective. So I give him that. But DA didn't condone that at all.
Jameis Winston talking about the decision to go rogue along with his teammates to get a touchdown for Jamal Williams, who had 17 last year with the Lions, had 0 until garbage time of the Week 18 win over the Falcons. Jimmy Graham, in response to the criticism of Jameis Winston for going rogue as he did. Get off his back. This man is the best teammate I've ever had. Loves this city, this game, and embodies everything you can ask for in a leader. Was a rare situation. We all take responsibility. Nobody thought we'd get blown out of proportion. Also, F-CK, the Falcons. All right, Jimmy. Hey, I think Chris and I were talking about this yesterday. Could you imagine that happening if Sean Payton was still the head coach there? Could you imagine a Bill Belichick coach team doing that? And I had heard that Dennis Allen is staying no matter what happened on Sunday, but they have issues with roster and culture that need to be addressed. And this seems to be an example of the cultural issues that need to be addressed. And that's going to be for the organization, led by Dennis Allen as the coach, Mickey Loomis as the GM, to try to iron out for 2024, Charean.
Yeah, and Mike, I actually, this is a great rivalry. I want both of these teams to be good because it is a great rivalry. And when they were both good, when Matt Ryan was playing for the Falcons and Drew Brees was playing for the Saints, it was fantastic. And I want to see that again. I would love to see that again. So this is just another thing in the rivalry, I think, that going forward we'll be talking about for a long time, despite the fact that it ended up being a meaningless game for both teams after the Buccaneers won, and then the Bucs obviously did. I mean, the Saints didn't get in the playoffs. They had another opportunity to get in the playoffs, but things didn't work out for them. But yeah, Mike, this is something that they're going to have to address going forward within the organization. Did Dennis Allen really know about this beforehand and play coy? I don't think he did. I think he truly didn't know, and this is something that the players decided on when they went out there. But I would be curious to find out if Dennis Allen knew this was the case and that gave him an out when he went up to Arthur Smith and gave him an out in the media and all that. But it does make Dennis Allen not look very good at this point, that the players would do something that he told them not to do.
And the last we'll see until he's coaching again from Arthur Smith, coming out onto the field and giving us one of those moments where you see it happening. You're like, oh, what's this? What's this? It wasn't quite Jim Harbaugh, Jim Schwartz, but it was pretty entertaining. Yeah. And Arthur Smith had a point. Now, some would say, hey, at the NFL level, you just stop them. You can't complain about that, and don't do it publicly like that. Yeah. Pro football is pro football, and people, if they want to score touchdowns, let them score, and your only recourse is to try to keep it from happening. Allen said he doesn't think that move is a sign of a fracture between players and coaches. I don't know what else he would say publicly. Privately is what really matters. And privately, the Saints reportedly are considering adding Jon Gruden to the offensive coaching staff, not as the coordinator, as a senior assistant, but number one, you're bringing a big personality into the building, and that's going to take a lot for Dennis Allen to manage. And number two, it is a gigantic middle finger. I try not to actually give the middle finger as I say gigantic middle finger to the league office, which hates Jon Gruden. Jon Gruden is suing them. Jon Gruden has a lawsuit that is due to go to the Nevada Supreme Court, I think this week, on the question of whether or not the NFL can force it into arbitration, where it will be guaranteed a much better result than if it plays out in court, over the leak of the Gruden emails from more than 2 years ago. The emails he sent while working for ESPN to Bruce Allen, who was then a high-level executive with the Washington franchise. Who ordered the code red? Roger Goodell's a defendant, named defendant, sued by Jon Gruden. And I guess from the Saints' perspective, they can say they already hate us. Like, the Saints believe the league office is anti-Saints, and they believed it ever since Bountygate. So why? Let's give them a reason. They're going to hate us? Let's give them a reason. Let's hire the guy they hate.
Well, let me start, Mike, by saying that I love DA. I go way back with Dennis Allen. He obviously went to Texas A&M. He's from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I got to spend a day with him when he was the head coach of the Raiders. I love DA, but he is on the hot seat going into next year. He knows that. Everybody knows that. 16-18 in his career with the Saints. If he hadn't won 4 of the final 5 games, Mike, giving them a chance to get into the postseason, he wouldn't be there today, I don't think. But let's go back to when he came to the Saints in 2015. He came in as what they called a senior defensive assistant. Rob Ryan retained the defensive coordinator title. That lasted 10 months. They fired Rob Ryan, and guess who got the defensive coordinator job? Dennis Allen. So if I'm Dennis Allen, I know I'm under pressure going into next year. Jon Gruden might help me win next year. If I think he can help me win next year, then it's probably a good move. But you can see where this is going. If it doesn't work out, Mike, Jon Gruden's going to be the next head coach of the Saints. I don't have any doubt about that. If they bring him in this role, he's going to be the next head coach of the Saints. And he's going to be the next head coach of the Saints in 2025 if they can't get into the postseason next year.
And regardless of how that plays out, this is their way to get the absolute most out of Derek Carr, who spent 3.5 years with Jon Gruden in Las Vegas and Oakland before that. And, we'll see how it goes. But you're right. Look, you've only got so many years to prove you can do it at the NFL level. And Dennis Allen's had 2. Next year's a year to make it happen. And we'll see how it goes. And if they turn it around and if they're great, maybe that sanitizes Jon Gruden's record and gets him an opportunity somewhere else. He's desperately wanted back in. He just wants to coach football. There are going to be some people who may not be happy about it. I have mixed feelings about it. Look, on one hand, you're entitled to redemption and you pay your penance. And, are you done forever? Are you forever disqualified? I don't know. It's not for me to decide because I'm not an owner deciding on whether or not to hire teams. But separate and apart from the emails that he sent is the fact that he's got an open legal war with the NFL, and the NFL doesn't like it. No company likes it when you sue them, so that makes it even harder. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.